Let's use the A, and we'll descend and ascend and descend just like we did a minute ago. Start with the, okay, it's an A, A7, all right, with a 9 note in there. All right. So if you were on 5th and 7th fret, let's go up here. D, G, and then an A, like 6, A6, down a whole step, same thing, D, and then A7 with a 9. I don't know if that's called an A9, A7, 9. I don't know. Don't matter. There it is. And then D again, and then A7. And I suggest the right hand technique would be, since we're in A, why not do triple stops? Downstroke with the pick on the 4th string, up with the 2nd and 3rd fingers at the same time. So bass, and kill it. Okay. The G, or we could do the G6. I think it's a G6. Go up a whole step. G again. A, D. Okay? If you noticed, when we started, we did this, not a D. That's because it's just a passing triad. All right? There's so many ways, and I'll try to get to a lot of them too, so that I can inspire the advanced guys a little bit too, and kind of focus a little bit of attention on how I do it on those levels. Okay, so you know the shapes were. It's basically A7, an inversion of A7, D, A, G, A9, G9, I think, D, and then same thing again. Okay, but down here I'm playing A7. When I'm on the octave, I'm playing a straight A. When I start up here, I'm playing like it'd be a D major 7 with an A bass. Okay, so there's so many things to call it. There's so many different ways of writing it out, describing it in a book. The best way you're going to learn it, if you don't already know all that stuff, which I don't, obviously. I don't know all that stuff. So I believe I'm speaking to hundreds and thousands of people that also don't know that stuff, and that possibly don't want to know that stuff on purpose. Like me, I was a kid. I just wanted to play guitar. I wanted to hear Brent Mason, Ricky Skaggs. I wanted to hear all them guys and emulate that. I wanted to learn as fast and as easy. I wanted to cut corners. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want nobody teaching me scales or nothing. I wanted to learn that as fast as I could. That's where I am right now. I'm describing it and helping thousands of people with the same methods. So I had to throw that in. Okay, there's so many different inverted and alternative ways of playing this and thinking about it. I'm thinking, instead of saying, D major 7 with an A bass, A7 with a 9 note, A, G. Instead of doing all that, I'm only really concentrating on 2 chords, just 2, A and G. Sorry, make that 3. We'll go ahead and add the D. So A, G, A, D, G, A, D, G, A, D, G, A. Does that put it in better perspective for you? Because it sure does for me. Instead of trying to remember all that stuff, I'm concentrating on phrasing. I'm concentrating on how am I going to make this sound awesome. I'm concentrating on how am I going to say the most out of these 3 chords that I'm thinking around all through the neck. Okay? In a chord progression situation, I would add the E, possibly. These, if you syncopate them right and phrase them correctly, not correctly, but phrase them in such a way, you can do a whole entire solo, if you will, around just what I just showed you, just thinking around the A, G, D, A, G, D, and then back up, A, D, G, A, G, D, going down, and A, D, G, G, D, and D, G, going up. Don't even do that. You can make a whole through a chord progression. I've done it a lot of times. But just using, I've done this more times. I've used those, and then I transpose it into the next key. If it goes to D, I'm doing this. And then, okay, let's say it goes to A. All right, I just done, and there's a few extra things. Don't worry about that right now. Concentrate on the triad lesson in this, okay? It's for A, it's the major, or I'm sorry, the 7th, and then down a whole step. That's A11, okay? I'm not worried about none of that. I'm worried about, here's my A7, here's my G major, here's my D, my A again, G, here's my A with a 6th note thrown in there. I think it's a 6th note. To my brain it is. And then D, then A7.